Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. We're the only training site that's dedicated to increase your win rate at live casino poker games. We do these call-in shows every week. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel.
Hey Bart, how's it going, man?
Hi, how's it going?
I've got a PLO 8 hand for you that I wanted you to
Oh,
basically
nice.
walk
Cool.
me through.
Awesome, yeah. But I always love to see PLO 8 hands, so
Oh,
what
nice.
level game is this of PLO 8?
It's a 1-3 limp for 5. So like a 1-3-5 green
Okay.
game.
135, yeah.
I posted it up on the forums. I don't know if you just want me to go through it or
Oh, okay.
you can
Yeah,
bring it up
where
on the
where
forums.
is it where
It's in
is
the
it on the
PLO.
forums?
It's in the PLO forum, and it's called. I think I just labeled it 135 PLO 8.
One
And my
three one
screen name is
in the PLO
beats
forms.
me.
Let me grab it up here so this will be easier. 135 PLO. This is beats me, right? Cool.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so I got it up here. Game is full of recreational players, very loose. Mama, of course, is an older lady, probably in her late 50s, huge station. Whale's playing 90% of his hands. Okay, seems pretty standard for a game of this level. Mixed
Right.
stacks. $630 effective with the main whale. Couple people limp in. Gambling player makes it 15. Doc calls. I call from small blind with deuce 3-3-4.
Yep.
Deuce 4
I guess
suited.
my
Yeah,
first question is, do you even play that from the small blind?
I would. Yeah, if
Being
you're saying if this
okay,
lineup is as bad as it is, I would. Any three wheel cards with a deuce 3 in it are have value in a deep stack PLO 8 game, and that's because people will play ace high boards. Now the thing is that this is almost akin to playing a small pocket pair
hmm
in No Limit Hold'em. It's just you either hit it or you don't, and you have to realize that like if the flop comes out like ace 8 king, that's not hitting it just because you have the nut low draw. No, you want to flop like a wheel draw here, typically with an ace. Um, the pair the pair in your hand hurts you a little bit here, but it's certainly playable. So
okay,
you call, Mama
yep,
calls, and the whale calls. So the pot is now five-handed here,
that's
and the
right.
board comes out three of spades, five of spades, 10 of diamonds. So this is really where wow, this is pretty tricky here. So you've got bottom set, and you have a straight flush draw, and you have a deuce four low, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Or a deuce four. Yeah,
Deuce four low draw.
I got a low draw. I didn't make a low yet.
Right, deuce four low draw, excuse me. So
Yeah,
you
right.
check, Mama checks, Whale checks. By the way, I actually like that play. I don't know if you did it intentionally because your hand goes way up in value here if you can get it heads up. Or if you see what happens. To the point where what happened, it got checked over to the gambly guy who bet 35. That's the absolute best case scenario for you. I'm going to tell you what I would do. I would absolutely raise, but it's so much
Okay.
different than the pre-flop raiser betting and then say a couple people call or you see multiple all-ins. This is the difference between you basically check raising to get it in here happily. I'm happily getting it in against this guy versus folding on the flop if it were to go bet call call. You know, and that's just the nature of draws in PLO. Um, or I mean, you've got a bottom set of three, so it depends on really how badly you're playing. But against the gambly guy, oh, I am so happily check raising here. Just check raise it up to like 135. It looks like you
Okay.
just called. What was your reasoning here?
I don't know if I can tell you. I mean, this is really the first PLO 8 session that I've ever played. So
Yeah,
I was just playing more conservative and just really trying to let things kind of fall into my lap and just observing the game
you've
was
got a
kind
pretty
of
powerful hand against a guy who's not the pre-flop raiser. I mean, you actually have a pretty powerful hand against the pre-flop raiser. I mean, even
right.
if the pre-flop raise, like you have a very very powerful hand in PLO 8 on this board to take it heads up. It's almost
Okay, right.
impossible for you to be losing both ways. I mean, it's basically impossible. I mean, even if someone were to have
Yeah.
ace ace deuce here with nut spades and aces, I would say that you're a favorite over that hand. Um, G Mon DC1 says that he's got too many ace lows that beat his low, and his bottom set is also kind of weak. This is a pot limit game. So if the person from up front just has like ace four or ace deuce, they can't really continue on, although you probably will continue on against an ace deuce. This is a very, very powerful hand on this board, given the fact that it's pot limit. And I would be happily shoveling money in against one person. And depending on how bad the other person is, possibly two. But heads up, there's no way that you're ever going to be less than 50% against anyone here unless someone specifically has like a set of tens and a better low than you. In which case you still have good equity with your flush draw and your open-ended straight draw. You've got bottom set, deuce four with a straight draw and a deuce four low. But anyways, you call.
Yeah.
Mama and the whale call. Now the turn is the four of diamonds, and now that's literally quite possibly the absolute worst card in the deck, and now the hand just becomes an easy check fold. The ace deuce beats you now. Any straight, you don't have a low, you have a live deuce draw, and your set is absolute garbage. You check. Mama shoves for 150. Whale calls, and you call. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Did you realize that you don't have a low here on the turn?
Yes, I realized I didn't have a low. I guess I was thinking that if I make a high hand, I'm getting half the pot. And I was also thinking that if I make a high hand, I can still make a large bet against the whale, and he will likely call with his low, hoping to, get half the pot. That was my thinking.
Yeah, but if he calls with his low though, you don't win anything against the whale.
I'm saying if I called if I made a full house on the river, I could make a bet, and he would call with his low.
Right, but
that was my thinking.
Okay, so this is a split pot theory. Some of the most basic concepts of split pot, right? So,
yep.
Mama's all in for the main pot. You guys can follow this though. We got it up on the forums here, right? Mama's all in for the main pot, right? So, if you call, the pot's going to be 655, and maybe you and the whale have got maybe like 300 left, right, behind, something like that.
Maybe like 400 or so.
Okay, 400. Yeah. If you make a full house and you bet the river, and the whale calls you, right, with the low, what do you win?
At that point, I would win half of the pot on the turn, and I would win half of his bet on the river.
You don't win half his bet. He has the low. This is very important for you to understand. You're drawing to half the pot. You just said that the guy's never going to fold a low. So if he has a made low now, you can never win. You can never win any more money. You're just putting your money in to win half of it back, right? Because if you bet and he has the low, you chop the pot. Do you see what I'm saying? The problem here, of course, too, is that you've got bottom set, which means if the board pairs, you might not even have the best full house some of the time.
Well, would he not get quartered in that situation? With I assume that Mama has the low, and if he has the low as well, would he not? And I make a bet on the river. Would his bet not get quartered? I would win a quarter of that bet.
No. So here's the thing. So if you are, even if Mama has the better low, it doesn't matter. Let's look at it because that's the main pot, right? So right now, this is just like any other game. The main pot's the main pot. The side pot's the side pot, right? So now that when you're heads up against this guy and you make a full house and you bet and he has the low, you don't make any money. You don't get a quarter of his bet. You guys are chopping the side pot. He has the low. You have the high. So it's the same thing for the main pot. If Mama has a better low, you're not gaining necessarily anything from this guy. I mean, you're winning a little bit from his stack because he's dead for the high, but Mama gets the other half for the low, if you follow me. So the point, I don't want to confuse people here, but the point is that you are absolutely dead on the turn because someone's gonna almost always have ace deuce here for a straight. You're drawing at a bottom full house and a low flush draw. You're toast, basically. But yeah, you've done the math a little bit wrong because you're not winning anything extra from the whale if he already has the low. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, because all of our bets on the river are going to be into a side pot.
Yeah,
and at
exactly.
that point, if we split it, it's not.
Yeah. And then someone
I think I was thinking about that wrong.
Yeah, someone points out the fact that yes, you actually could scoop that pot if you caught an ace. If you caught an ace and you made a wheel, you might actually you would. You wouldn't scoop the pot. You would chop it because
I would just have like a live deuce at that point.
No. If the river is an ace, you have a wheel, but somebody else is going to have a wheel with you though, because a live deuce is a wheel. If the river is an ace, you have a wheel, but somebody else is going to have a live deuce along with you. Anybody else with a deuce in their hand is going to have it. As long as they have a card below a 5, if the river's an ace, they have a wheel too. So if someone's got an ace deuce right now and then the river's an ace, they still have a wheel, but it's just you make a wheel. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So the river's the 10 of clubs, and what's your plan on the river? I mean, the plan is to check and fold. I mean, the whale is probably going to check it behind, but you lose to 6-7 and you lose to ace deuce. There's no way you can really call any hand. What happened at the end?
So I filled up on the river.
You did fill up? Oh, I'm sorry, the river. Oh, you filled up on the river, the 10. I'm sorry. I thought that. Yeah.
So, I guess
now you would just check call. Now I would at this point, I would probably. See, it doesn't matter, though. I mean, you can look at this from an advanced standpoint where, like, you might be able to bet somebody off a 6-7 here. And the reason why you need to bet somebody off a 6-7 is because 6-7 is a low. Yeah, you beat the straight, but if it just goes check, 6-7 is a low and they chop it. But you're saying that he's never going to fold 6-7 anyways here, so you could just check and hope that he checks back and hope he doesn't have a higher full house. What did you do? It sounds to me like you bet, right?
Yeah, I bet and then called his all-in thing. Well, so I bet like 185, and then he goes all in. And
that's why you can't. You can't bet here because he can raise you with a wheel at the end, and he can also raise you with a full house. See, in split pot games, you have to check call the river sometimes because somebody can raise you with the other half that you don't have correctly, and you have to call because they could be doing that. So you have to actually protect your stack. So you bet he moved all in. So did he have a wheel or did he have a higher full house?
No, he had 10-5.
Yeah.
So he made he made a bigger full house on the river.
Yeah,
and I got destroyed.
What was his entire hand? Do you remember?
I don't even remember. No, because he flipped over the 10-5, and I was counting out my chips to put the rest in the pot. And by that point, they were already splitting the pot, and I wasn't gonna.
That's why you can't bet on the river there with just pot. Anytime you have like a bottom full house and you have no low and there's a low out there, you can't bet. You don't have a nut hand one way, and a guy can jam you the other way. He can jam you with a two-way hand. I mean, he could raise you all in with ace deuce 6-7. You have to call off, but you don't like it. Here, you're vulnerable to a better high. So, lesson learned. I love talking about PL08, and I've done several videos on it. So I suggest you watch them. So.
I actually watched. I probably got through maybe 2 or 3 of like your introductory PL08 videos before I went and played that session, and. I think they're going to be spreading that game a little more in my town. So.
Yep. Okay. Thanks.
It was a fun game, that's for sure.
Thanks for the call. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out CrushLivePoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.